All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nick. I'm the Healthy Living Educator here at Cornell Cooperative Extension. And thank you so much for joining us. A little bit of background about me. I'm Italian. I came here about 12 years ago. Worked in restaurant business before coming here, and was a teacher, and I did all sort of jobs until I ended up here. And I'm happy that I can finally share my experience in cooking with you. And thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. My name is Mamnenge, and I am the agriculture educator here at CCE Rensselaer County. I was born and raised in Nigeria, and I came to the United States about 3 years ago for grad school. And then after grad school, I moved up here for work with CCE Rensselaer County. And one of the things that I found very interesting moving across continents is the fact that everyone loves to eat good and healthy food. Food is something that connects everyone together, regardless of where you are from. Everyone loves to eat something good and tasty. And this evening, we are going to be presenting a recipe, but I would like to highlight that most of the ingredients that you're going to see us using to make this recipe were all locally sourced. So we sourced for our ingredients from a source around Rensselaer County, and that source is Engels Acres. So we went down to Engels Acres and we purchased squash, carrots, apples, celery sticks, and the onions. Engels Acres is a family-owned farm, and it's located in Brunswick. And they specialize in locally grown vegetables and delicious fresh baked goods. So you may be wondering and asking yourself, why should I buy local? Why should I go to a local store to get this produce? First of all, when you go to source for your ingredients locally, you are sure of getting very fresh and nutritious food. And also, you are supporting the local farmer and the local economy. These farmers put in a lot of hard work all year round to give us fresh food. And when you buy from them, you are supporting their production activities. And also, when you buy local, you're building community connections. And in building community connections, CCE Rensselaer likes to bridge the gap between consumers and producers. We like to make sure that there's a balance, everyone is happy. And so we created a platform called Harvest Connection. Harvest Connection is a website, but there is also the app that you can download from Play Store or your iStore. So when you download the app, it helps you find where to source for locally produced fresh food. So when you go on there, you just type in what you're looking for, and it would help you pull up farms around you that you could go buy these items. But in a situation where you are not able to make it to a farm stand to get these items, when you go to where you typically or normally would buy your food, you could just try to always look out for New York State products. Most of the time you would see products that are labeled New York State products. So when you buy those products, you are equally helping to grow the economy and support local farmers around the state. So that's what I'd have to put out for you. And thank you for joining us. Sit back and enjoy the recipe.
Great. Thank you, Mamnenge and Nick. So I'm the third wheel here tonight. I'm Bernie Wiesen. I'm going to be behind the scenes, helping make sure that everything goes well on your screen and on our screens. Just a few little housekeeping notes. You are all muted right now with just a few exceptions. I will ask those of you who are not muted if you could kindly do that yourself, just to help guard against any unanticipated background noise. I also encourage you to ask questions. We may not ask them the minute you put them in the chat. That's how I'm going to ask you to ask them. But we will get to them by the end of this session. So thank you in advance for your patience. The other thing is, please do not take notes. all of the recipes and the information that are provided in the next 20 or 30 minutes will be provided to you via email. There will be a slide at the end that you will have contact information for Mamnenge and Nick, so you can reach out to them and they will send you the pertinent information related to tonight's program. I do welcome everyone. I am going to ask that if in the chat, go ahead and use the chat to put in maybe your very favorite fall food or your favorite holiday food. Get a little engagement that way. And you might even want to pop in where you're from. And we'll kind of get to know each other a little bit, add a little dimension to our flat screen here. And with that, I am going to go ahead and turn it back to Nick and Mamnenge. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bernie, and thank you everyone for being here. As I mentioned in the beginning, tonight we're going to have a butternut apple soup. The roasted butternut apple soup, and the base is going to be a classic Italian base of carrots, celery, and onions. This base is called soffritto, and it's a base that is used widely in our cuisine and can be used many different ways. So whatever you learn today is a trick you can have in the back of your pocket. In the future, whenever you want to cook, you want to put some base together quickly, this is a great way to start. So what we need today for our recipe, as I mentioned before, butternut, apples, carrot, celery, onions, broth, salt, curry, and cinnamon. We're going to start our recipe by peeling the butternut. A lot of people likes to cook the butternut in the oven. Speaking of oven, I'm sorry, I forgot something. The first thing you should do is turn on your oven at 425, so you don't waste any time in the middle. Then you're gonna peel your butternut and your apples. A lot of people I was mentioning likes to cook their butternut with the skin in the oven. So to loosen the skin a little bit, it's easier to peel. But this time we're just gonna peel by hand with a regular peeler. A potato peeler works, and your apples as well. Once we have our apples and our butternut peeled, we're gonna go ahead and cut them, dice them. The size of the cube should be around 1 inch. It doesn't really matter how big how perfect the cuts are, as long they're roughly the same. You want them to be able to cook evenly in the oven. And just a quick shout out to our superstar here at Butternut and Apple, because they're rich in vitamins, rich in vitamin C, vitamin A. The butternut has beta-carotene that is great for your eyes, for your skin. They're rich in minerals. Butternut has potassium and magnesium. Both of them are rich in fiber, which helps you keep you full longer. And you will see that all the ingredients in this recipe are very, very rich in antioxidants. So that's a big plus. So back to the recipe. We dice our butternut and our apple, same shapes, same sizes, and then we'll move on. We grab a baking sheet and we line it with tin foil. We're gonna move our butternut and apple on it, shake it to even it all out, and we add olive oil and salt. Olive oil, it's a heart-healthy fats. It's rich in antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. So it's a good item, but we always have to remember there's still oil, so we have to be careful not to use it too much. We're gonna put it in the oven for 35 to 40 minutes. Now, you want to make sure that the butternut get nice and soft. However, usually 35 to 40 minutes it's enough. However, about 20 minutes, you want to take the tray out, shake a little bit so that the apple and the butternut don't get stuck to the bottom of the baking sheet. Next, we will chop the vegetables for our base. We're gonna start with the onion, then we're gonna move on with the celery and the carrots. all these three items are very rich in antioxidants. They are low calories food and high in fiber, so that keeps you full longer. Onions are also a prebiotic fiber, so your belly is going to help you. It's going to thank you for it. And once we're done with peeling our carrots and chopping all up, we will make sure that the size of the carrot, the celery, and the onion is roughly the same. So we can go on and create our base. What you need is going to be a stock pot and a saucepan. On the saucepan, we're going to put our broth. We want to have a hot broth when we're going to eat it later on in this recipe. The hot broth, you can bring the broth to boil, and when it boils, you can lower the fire to simmer. So it's going to be ready when you need it. We're going to start by covering the bottom layer of the stock pot with olive oil. You don't want to use too much olive oil, otherwise you're going to end up frying your onions rather than saute them. You want to saute the onion, and you turn on the fire on the underneath the pot. And when it's hot, not too hot, you can add your onions, stir until they become nice and soft and translucent, as you can see right here. Next, we will do the same thing with our celery. We can put the celery in, stir until they become nice and soft, roughly 5 to 7 minutes. They should be ready. And lastly, we can go on and do the same with our carrots. 5 to 7 minutes, it should be enough to have them nice and soft. And this is a good moment for you to add salt to your soup. Remember that the broth you're going to use likely is going to already have, even if it's low sodium, it's already salted. So you don't want to be too generous with salt at this point. Okay, we can go on, and it's time to take our butternut and apple out of the oven, nice and soft. We can put them in a bowl. We're gonna set it aside because before we put them with the rest of the base, we're gonna make our seasoning, which is made of curry and cinnamon. Curry is gonna provide a nice counterbalance to the sweetness of the soup and enhance the flavor of the soup without you need to add more fat or more salt. Also promotes digestion, and of course, as every other item in this recipe has rich in antioxidant. Same thing for the cinnamon. It's going to provide a little bit extra sweetness to the soup, and it's rich in antioxidant. Okay, we will add the mixture of apple and butternut to the base and our spices. I'm going to give a nice stir, and this is the moment when we add the broth. For this specific recipe, I made 8 cups of broth. I'm just going to use 7. I always like to keep 1 cup on the side in case I want my soup to be a little bit thicker. At this point, we're going to wait until the soup boils, and we can grab our immersion blender. This immersion blender that I'm using is made on purpose for this type of soups, and it's food graded. So if you don't have that, you can also use your blender. You can work in batches. So you can grab a little bit of your soup, put in the blender, and blend it. And you can get another batch and blend it, and so on. So here I'm going to blend it. It's going to take about 5 minutes to do the to bring it to a smooth place. And you can see here that I'm making a very smooth and thick, so that my spoon can stand in it. Nice and silky and delicious. We have a sample right here of the soup we're going to show later. People like to serve it, you can serve it immediately after these. People like to add pepper, or even like my wife likes to add sour cream, no sour cream, heavy cream to it. I just like to add olive oil to it, and it's ready to eat. So here's the ingredients that you need, and roughly the serving size. This recipe, according to how much broth you use, yields to 6 to 8 servings, and makes one serving is 1.5 cup, and you can see the nutrition. It's very good when it comes to fiber and low fat and not too much sodium. All this information are going to be available for you to grab. We're going to make a nice PDF that you can we can email to you. These are our information, and I think that I covered everything. Ma'am.
Thank you very much, Nick, for putting us through this very interesting recipe. And we have a finished product here. Myself and Nick are going to dive into this right after the webinar. And now the floor is open for questions. If you have any questions about this recipe or the procedure of making the whole soup, please let us hear you. The floor is open for questions.
At this point, I don't see any questions in the chat, but I just want to draw everybody's attention to the fact that I did put the link to our YouTube channel there so that you can view this later on, and really encourage people to reach out to Nick and to Mamnenge for those materials. If it's helpful, feel free to put your email right in the chat and we can capture it there as well. Oh, I see a question from Marcy. Question is, how long does it take to prepare?
So usually what I like to do is to start turning on the oven. So but the moment I turn on the oven and the moment the soup is ready is about 40 to 45 minutes. Because when you turn on the oven, while you wait for the oven to heat up, you can peel your butternut and apple, stick in the oven, and then as the butternut and the apple is cooking in the oven, you can concentrate on the base. So I want to say maybe 45 minutes to 55 minutes total. Depends how fast you are as a peeler.
Great, thank you. Another question, actually it may be a comment. For Marge, nice to see what size dice should be. Appreciated seeing how it should look at each step. So that was a plus, that was a bonus. Thank you for your comment, Marge. Any other questions or comments? Again, if you want to save yourself a step, if you place your email in the chat, I will capture it, and Nick and Mamnenge will be sure to email you any of the materials related to tonight's program. And again, I invite you to go to our website and link to our YouTube. That also is in the chat, just a few messages up above. And you can go there for any kind of reinforcement of tonight. All right, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I appreciate Nick and Mamnenge. I learned a couple of things myself, and it looks delicious. One of my favorite fall foods.
Thanks, Bernie. So we plan to keep this series of healthy recipes going, and the plans are underway for the new year. So if you have suggestions for us or comments and feedback, please send that to us through our email, and we'll appreciate that. We look forward to hearing from you if you have suggestions on recipes and anything else. And also, before we call it a night, I would like to thank Engels Acres for welcoming us into their farm store, letting us take photos of all the ingredients and their store to put out here this evening. And I want to thank everyone who showed up this evening to learn from us on how to make this healthy recipe. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.